It was a late evening broadcast on Niger's state television. Viewers expected routine updates, maybe something about weather patterns, market prices for crops, or local news. But then, the regular program cut to a black screen with the national emblem. A solemn voice began to read a statement, word by word, with the kind of gravity usually reserved for declarations of war. The message was clear and uncompromising. Given serious breaches to save this highly strategic company, the state of Niger has decided to nationalize SML. This wasn't coded in polite language or offers of partnership. It was direct. The government had signed the order that very day. The mine's ownership was now entirely in the hands of the Nigerian state. The operator, Australian-based McKinnell Resources Limited, had no warning. According to reports, they learned about the nationalization at the same time as the public through the media broadcast. And just like that, Niger's only industrial gold mine was under state control. Nationalizations happen, but they rarely happen this fast. Usually, there's at least a process: arbitration, drawn-out court battles, months of tense negotiations. Not this time. The transfer was announced as already complete. No future dates, no conditions, no mention of transitional management. That level of speed suggested one thing: this had been planned quietly for a while. The government had been preparing to strike in a single, decisive move, and when the time came, they acted. In Niamey, Niger's capital, the air was buzzing with speculation. Investors abroad scrambled for information. International journalists tried to confirm details with both Niger's Ministry of Mines and McKinnell's headquarters in Australia. The shock was magnified by one detail: Niger's gold sector is relatively small compared to its uranium and oil industries. Yet, the government chose this mine out of all its resources for such a bold and public takeover. This wasn't happening in isolation. Just 2 months earlier, Niger had already taken control of the local branch of Orano, a French uranium giant. That move had already rattled Western capitals. So when this gold mine nationalization happened so soon after, it began to look less like coincidence and more like a deliberate strategy, one that would inevitably set Niger on a collision course with some of the most powerful mining interests in the world. The official framing was blunt: national sovereignty. The mine was called a highly strategic company, whose survival was essential to ensuring that Niger's natural resources served the Nigerian people, not foreign corporations. For the domestic audience, it was a powerful message. We will not hesitate to challenge foreign corporate power if it threatens our national wealth. To understand why this decision matters, you have to understand what SML represents. SML is not just an industrial site. It's the only operational industrial gold mine in Niger. That means it serves as both a key producer and a model for what the country's gold sector could become. Its location is strategic, sitting in the West African Gold Belt, a geological zone that runs from Ghana through Mali and into Niger. This belt contains some of the richest gold deposits on the continent. While Niger's portion of the belt isn't as developed as Ghana's or Mali's, experts believe it has the potential to rival them in scale and profitability. Beyond the gold itself, SML has been crucial for building infrastructure, roads, energy links, and processing facilities. Without this infrastructure, other gold-rich regions in Niger remain inaccessible for large-scale operations. In other words, SML is a logistical anchor for future expansion in the mining sector. Niger's economy relies heavily on agriculture and uranium exports. Gold offers a way to diversify, to create a financial buffer when other commodity prices fluctuate. Losing control of SML or letting it stagnate would mean more than just lost gold revenue. It would undermine the country's long-term economic strategy. The mine is also symbolic. It was one of the first major industrial gold projects to attract significant foreign investment after decades of minimal activity in Niger's gold sector. Its success was supposed to prove that Niger could host world-class mining operations. And then there's employment. SML directly employs hundreds and indirectly supports thousands more, from suppliers to local businesses. In a country where job creation is a political priority, the health of this mine is directly tied to public trust in the government. That's why, to Niger's leaders, any threat to the mine's survival wasn't just an economic problem, it was a political one. By the time the nationalization order was signed, the government claimed the mine was already on the brink of collapse. They cited multiple failures under McKinnell's management, broken investment promises when McKinnell took over in 2019. They pledged a $10 million capital injection to upgrade equipment and boost efficiency. The government says this money never materialized. Delayed tax payments reports suggest taxes fell behind schedule, straining relations with the Treasury. Wage arrears, worker pay delays, caused unrest and economic ripple effects in surrounding communities. Operational breakdowns frequent. Stoppages from equipment failures or wage disputes hurt production and planned layoffs. The government argues these reduce the mine's operating capacity and worsen local unemployment. Rising debt with revenue disrupted. McKinnell reportedly borrowed heavily just to keep basic operations running. Individually, these issues might have been manageable, but together, officials believe they created a pattern of decline too dangerous to ignore. And so, the state stepped in not, they say, as a first resort, but as the only remaining option to save a strategic national asset. Niger's move is part of a much bigger story. Across the Sahel, countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and now Niger are rewriting the rules for resource ownership. For decades, foreign companies controlled much of the region's mining, taking most of the profits, while leaving behind limited benefits for local populations. Infrastructure was built to serve extraction, not national development. Communities near mines often saw little lasting improvement in living standards. Now, a new approach is taking hold: resource nationalism. Mali has changed its mining code to give the state a bigger stake in projects. Burkina Faso has introduced laws allowing government intervention in strategic mining operations. Niger has now acted twice in quick succession, first with uranium, now with gold. The driving force is a mix of political will and economic necessity. These governments want greater control over their mineral wealth, both for revenue and for the ability to shape development on their own terms. The shift isn't happening in a vacuum. Western military and economic influence in the Sahel has been declining in recent years. In its place, new players including Russia, China, and Turkey are entering the scene. This gives Sahel governments more leverage. They can choose partners from a wider pool, negotiate better terms, and insist on majority state control in projects. Nationalizations like Niger's are also politically symbolic. They show domestic audiences that leaders are willing to challenge powerful foreign interests, a stance that can boost public support. But the risk is real. Running large-scale mines requires expertise, capital, and market access. Without these, nationalized projects can stall. Taking over SML was the political part. The real challenge begins now, keeping it profitable and sustainable. Here's what Niger needs to do: stabilize operations, reassure workers, keep production going, and honor supplier contracts. Secure technical expertise. Mining is highly specialized. Niger will need skilled engineers, geologists, and safety experts at least in the short term, while training locals for the long term. Find new financing. Without McKinnell's capital, Niger must look to sovereign loans, regional banks, or new foreign partners on Niger's terms. Add value domestically. Building refining facilities in Niger would keep more profits inside the country. Use SML as a training hub. Develop local talent that can staff future mining projects. Manage international perception. Show that Niger is still a place where investment is possible, as long as it aligns with national priorities. If Niger succeeds, it could set a precedent for other African nations looking to reclaim more control over their resources. If it fails, critics will point to it as proof that nationalization leads to inefficiency and lost revenue. This story isn't just about one mine. It's about a shift in global resource politics. Across Africa, governments are questioning decades-old arrangements where foreign companies dictated the terms. The seizure of SML sends a message: Africa's resources will serve Africa first. Whether that message leads to lasting prosperity or a new set of challenges will depend on what happens next in Niger. So what do you think? Was Niger right to take back its only industrial gold mine without warning? Does this mark a new chapter in African sovereignty, or a risky gamble that could backfire? Share your thoughts in the comments section. And if you want more stories like this, stories about Africa's changing power dynamics, history, and untold realities, make sure you like this video, subscribe to African Lights, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Because the resource game in Africa is changing fast.